Today's presentation is about outsourcing field sales, the features, the benefits, and how it impacts both the sales agency and the manufacturer. This will be a better than ever response to the competitive pressures facing today's top executives. 18 benefits of outsourcing field sales, and we'll go through and discuss each one individually. But it gives you a predictable sales cost that goes up and down with sales. Until a sales agent actually sells something, the manufacturer does not pay a dime. It standardizes your sales costs. It should be, for the most part, lower sales costs. Now, when the economy is going really strong and you've got an awful lot of sales, that's kind of a celebration for everybody. And typically you'll see that compensation for agents becomes larger. Likewise, when things are really difficult and the marketplace is hard to manage, sales agents get paid less money. It will also give you immediate market access because your sales agencies typically have been well established in the marketplace and they can immediately get you into places where you otherwise might not be able to get. It will give you also a broader market penetration. And typically you're going to have a more experienced sales force. Again, we'll get into this after a while. Additional benefits would be a multifaceted, multi-skilled sales team. People who know an awful lot about a subject as opposed to a single product or a product category. It gives you wider and deeper coverage. Stronger local relationships goes along with the fact that these people have been in place for a long period of time and they've got deep local relationships that they've developed over the years. It should be also that you'd have a reduced sales force turnover. These people are well established in the community and they also know their business, and so they're not likely to be turning over. Training required only on the products. The agencies typically will spend a lot of time training people how to do sales, how they get to the marketplace, etc. But all they would need, the salespeople, the sales agent, would be training on your specific products. And we're closer to the customer, so for forecasting, we should be able to understand the market and the marketplace and the customers and the players, and so we should be able to do a better job of forecasting. You also should be able to gain better market intelligence. Because we've been in the marketplace for such a long period of time, we would have the ability to understand the players and what's going on in the marketplace. This should help and increase our sales. Knowledgeable advice and information, you're going to be able to hear it like it is. Way too often you're able to hear what you want to hear from your employees because they're looking to you for their next move. But from an agent, an independent agent or an independent seller, you're going to be able to hear it like it is because we have to sell something to make some money. And so we're going to tell you what's going on in the marketplace. That also gives us the ability to have risk-free exploration of new market niches. In other words, we can get you into a market and try something out if we think that it's going to be good and it will be a long-term valuable financially for us. We're willing to do the upfront investment of time and treasure to develop those markets. Therefore, it becomes risk-free for you. We also take a problem-solving approach. We think it outperforms product selling. In other words, if you're taking a look at a wall section and we can talk to an architect or an owner about the different components in that wall, and so helping them achieve what they're looking for in terms of what type of cladding they want, how much insulation they need, where do they need to have the air barrier or vapor barrier or moisture barrier, all those types of things. But if you have a single family product line sale, all you can really talk about with knowledge is the part that you're familiar with. And in our case, it would be the insulation. If you don't know anything about air barriers or vapor barriers or attachments or claddings, then you're not nearly as resourceful or able to be as resourceful to the architect or the engineer. But last but least, you have a very vested partner in the manufacturer's success. We need you to succeed so that we can succeed. So, what is a manufacturer's agent? Well, manufacturer's agents are independent professional providers of field sales and marketing services to manufacturers and or suppliers. An agent they typically handle a portfolio of related but not competitive product lines, working under a contractual agreement within a defined geographical territory, and on an exclusive basis within their assigned field of responsibility. Agent firms can come in all shapes and sizes. They come from a small, defined focus area to organizations handling all facets of marketing, from the sales to the development of tools, etc. So, what's the value of an agent? Again, the value of an agent will bring both to those they sell to and those they sell for emerges in great measure from the synergies created through the representation of multiple lines. Their product portfolio allows agents to 1. Present broad-based solutions rather than price and delivery responses brought by single product selling. Again, it goes back to what we were talking about in the 18 different advantages of a sales agent. Being a consultative approach that opens doors for other lines. In other words, again, using the example of a cavity wall. If you have attachment systems like night wall, or you've got insulation options, Cavity Mate Ultra or CI from Thermax, to claddings and air barriers, etc. All those things give you the consultative approach that you need to get into see a specifier. He may call because he's interested in a metal a Lucabond panel for the exterior, and then he wants to know, well, how do you attach that, and then what kind of insulation should we have? Well, if you're a single family product seller, you're really restricted to what you can discuss with them on a knowledgeable basis. We add value and stimulate a partnering relationship with the buyer as the purchase progresses through the entire project. Again, going back to the example of having a whole bunch of different products that you can offer that are non-competitive. There's even more benefit to the synergy. First, the added market's potential it offers. The second is the greater market share it can create, as well as the greater speed of market penetration it facilitates. In other words, if you're already there talking to somebody about claddings, you also have the ability to talk to them about the insulation, so you can penetrate a market far, far quicker. The multi-line sales professional can afford to call on customers too small to be profitable for a single line. In other words, if you have the opportunity on one project to sell 4 different products, you're far more likely to gravitate towards that project despite the size. Even if it's 5,000 square feet, you could sell 5,000 square feet of 4 different products. So you're more than a source, you become a resource. Agent success is directly tied to productivity, so the profession attracts and retains the top talent in the industry. The entrepreneurial type, the competitive type, as well as the goal-oriented. Length of stay? A direct salesperson who produces is likely to be promoted, whether to another location or back to Midland. Recent figures indicate the average stay of a company salesperson in a given territory is only 22 months, while an agent salesperson is closer to 22 years. That may not be the case with all direct salespeople, but that tends to be industry-wide the case. So, being rooted geographically leads to stability of relationships, an important added value in a world where the customer is king. Because they're in the territory for the long term, representatives look beyond the sale to the total relationship. It's very important that the people that we get to know today are still in the industry long from now. Outsourcing field sales. Another possibility, and the most simplistic. The multi-line sales call is simply more cost-effective. The buyer saves time discussing several needs during a single meeting, and the seller discusses several things they have to sell during the same single meeting. So it's a win-win-win. The customer benefits too. It develops a stable relationship with someone who knows the total corporate culture. Long-term commitment to the territory. We've been here. Edwards Sales, as an example, has been in place for 60 years. We serve the customer as a multifaceted resource. More efficient sales calls. We cover several products in a single meeting. And then we do the consultative selling. We can talk about attachment systems. We can talk about thermal bridging. We can talk about insulation, claddings, air barriers, vapor barriers, what have you. It bridges the communication gap among the different departments within a organization, a sales organization or a engineering or architectural firm. Advocacy, ability to secure exceptions to supplier policy. You know, we understand the needs of the manufacturer. We also understand the needs of the customer. And we're able to oftentimes advocate for one or the other to make sure that the process is smooth. Help and order strategy through distribution or direct. We have the channels that we follow, and we can guide products and we can guide solutions through our different channels. Perspective on market conditions and trends. Solutions approach looking at the forest, not the trees. We're going to find an answer to their situation, whether it be more insulation, whether it be a vapor drive issue. We're going to be looking for solutions. There are some myths and misconceptions with all of this. Reps don't take a long-term perspective, though it wouldn't be surprising if they thought short-term, as they often live with 30-day contracts. The truth is, the most damaging myth may be connected to the control factor. How much control the manufacturer wants is probably more the issue than how much the manufacturer needs. You know, if you believe that the sales force needs to be led around every step of the way, it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Pretty soon, the sales force is just going to rely completely on management to direct their every move. Reps do need to be directed and motivated. In fact, positive motivation is probably the best way for a sales manager to control his outsourced sales force. Positive motivation. Finally, the best and most productive partnerships between manufacturers and their agents come about when both parties are clear about their respect for one another and their responsibilities to one another. Both of those things are very important. The respect and the responsibilities. This goes to accountability. Let's have discussions beforehand about what's expected of us, and then if we disagree, it's at that time that we should be talking about our disagreements on how things should be done. And each party should have enough respect for the other that they understand their responsibilities at the end of the day, and the results will therefore. This program was developed for a presentation on the value proposition of agents, primarily for Dow Chemical, and it was presented by Edwards Sales and at the Agent Advisory Council in 2013.